communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Verse 7, and this is where I was getting to about the fear. It says what? Be not what? Deceived. God is not mocked.
Isn't it good? Oh, okay.
For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he what? Also reap.
Still in 2 Peter?
No, I'm back to Galatians. I apologize.
Galatians 6.
Galatians 6. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This was the praying over the credit card thing for me. Look, all right, Lord, I have made a mistake, and I still have the consequences of those mistakes. I've sown it. It's already been sown. What's going to happen? You're going to reap it. You're going to reap it. That means some days you're going to have to spend a little more time on your knees choosing God. Because we've sown an awful lot to our flesh, haven't we? We've sown an awful lot to our wants, our desires, our will, our way. And this thing's gotten quite used to having his own way, hasn't it? It's gotten quite used to getting what it wants. It's gotten very used to being in control. And when you all of a sudden say, no, you're not in control anymore, it tends to go, excuse me? So there's going to be days that are going to be a little bit tougher than others. But the solution to those days are square on your knees before the Lord. Or get on your knees before the Lord, pick up the phone and call a brother. Say, look, I'm having a rough day, and I need you to pray with me. That's a good thing to do. That shows so much. I mean, I'm thinking of all kinds of scriptures where that's a good thing to do. It says, confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. It's a good thing. It doesn't say confess your sin. It says confess your faults. I got an issue with this. Can you pray with me? That's a good thing to do. It shows humility, shows faith. That's all good stuff.
That was a red face.
Yeah, it says a double-minded man's unstable in all his ways.
Yeah.
And the path we're called is a path of peace. And if you, like with credit cards, or financial issues in general, there is nothing like having a made-up mind. You put that double-mindedness behind you, and you make up your mind, it's got to be this way and not some other way. A lot of things start falling in line.
It's amazing what will happen. And this is the next part, okay? We've walked our life sowing to the flesh, right?
Yeah.
We've done it. I mean, we sow to our comfort. We've gathered stuff to our comfort to satisfy the needs of our immediate, forsaking the needs of our future. It's a bad way to live. It's a bad way to live. So now we've recognized it. Now we've realized it. Now what do? Well, we change.
That's right.
You submit to God. That's how you fix it. And that goes with everything. I don't care if it's an attitude problem. I don't care if it's a wife submitting to her husband problem, an employee submitting to his boss problem, a congregation submitting to a pastor problem. It doesn't matter. It's just you realize the deficiency and you choose to change. It's that simple. As a guy would once say, he's simple, he's no easy. Because it means what? It means getting on our knees again.
One thing me and Lisa have seen several times with financial stuff, once we get ourselves lined up in the right way where we're both pushing, we plow through those things far faster than we would seem to be able to on paper. I think it just opens the doors up for the Spirit to make things happen.
When you're
of one mind.
When you're of one mind,
Yeah.
and Sue and I have struggled with this, and it's critical, huh?
Have struggled? Oh yeah.
Well, we have struggled as of, maybe
Up
today.
until yesterday.
We didn't see much today, so maybe not so much today.
No. We prayed over the credit cards yesterday.
We did.
So this is not like a 6 months ago thing we did.
No, this is like,
It's like, okay, we bought the Guitar Hero, we bought the
bought
everything we need.
I was going to bring that up on tape. We can edit that out.
Yeah, congratulations, you're normal.
Right.
If I'm sure it wasn't done that way though.
No, here's
At least
here's
it
the
certainly
next
wasn't
thing.
by me.
No, here's the next thing that's interesting. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall what? Shall of the flesh reap corruption. But here's the blessing. Here's the good thing. Here's the thing that turns the table.
The good news.
But he that soweth to his spirit shall of the spirit reap what?
Life
Everlasting. All right, so we have sown to the flesh. We've made mistakes. We've fallen down. So what? Will there be consequences? Probably. Because that's just the way it works.
That's how you learn.
If we didn't have the consequences, we wouldn't know better next time.
I think the reason people build up treasures on earth, aside from comforting this flesh and keeping it quiet, is because we don't have any concept of what eternity is like. We don't have any idea of what it's going to be like there. So to us, this is the best time we can enjoy things. We can enjoy life. We can, my dad's theory is, what's money for if not to use it and bless it?
And while I agree with you, I want to ask.
It's not.
I want to
good
ask
thing.
you. I know I agree with you that that's why we do it. But here's my question:
We're deceived
are you happy?
with the things.
And I say that not to us necessarily, but whoever may watch the tape. You buy something to make you happy. You go spend money to make you happy, or you have an attitude, or you do put money aside. You make choices that you think are going to make you happy, and then are you happy?
Temporary.
No. Why? Because you're still at war with God. Right?
Yeah.
If we call ourselves to be Christians, but yet we are operating outside of His rules, is there peace?
No.
No. Certainly not joy. And those things that we do to make us happy, hey, I love to eat. Makes me happy. Also makes me fat and my knees hurt, and my back hurt, and I can't get out of bed, and I can't play with my kid like I want. What are those?
Not joy.
Consequences. Right? I literally, if I sow to my flesh, of my flesh I reap corruption, right? I mean, the thing is that's so interesting that I find is that those things that the devil promises us are going to be happy things turn out to be death. And the warning that God is saying to these guys here is saying to the Galatians, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. Now, in the Galatians instance, he's not just talking about the stuff we're talking about today. He's talking about, our own, even the righteousness by which they were trying to achieve heaven. I mean, they literally were trying to mix the law with grace. They were literally sowing to their flesh in the sense of committing some sort of sliding scale of righteousness as some sort of justification for their salvation. And it was going to condemn them and kill them if they kept that way. He goes on, he says, verse 9, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due time, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not. See, when you sow all the flesh stuff, and you start getting the crop, not so good. Makes you not want to keep going. Okay, now in the midst of reaping all the garbage, and you starting to sow some spiritual stuff, guess what happens? You're still reaping the garbage in the middle of sowing the spiritual stuff. Time passes before the new crop comes up. Right? I mean, if I plant a tomato plant, I don't go tomorrow and pluck the tomato off.
That would be
It'd be
nice.
great. It doesn't happen that way. We got some fast growing stuff, but it ain't that fast. Right? You're like the garden man over there.
Not very good at it.
But you're committed to it, and you're patient with it. And you realize if you're going to plant peas today, you're going to have to wait a period of time before you can actually eat them. It's that way with the things of the Lord too.
This is a very interesting verse, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. Because what I went through in Vermont, when you prayed for me, and the changes that I went through in the